Oh, King Terenas, how you shouldn't have died. How we miss you.
King Terenas, you say? He would be a proud member of the Scarlet Crusade. Would you like to join now that we accept females into our ranks?
What was that?
Oh gosh, a dirty Forsaken!
Wait, you know King Terenas. Then you can hear my theory about how he shouldn't have died.
No, I'm good. Dirty freaks.
Wait! Come back here!
Ah! What's up, rewriters? Welcome back to Warcraft Rewrite, and today's episode is a blast from the past. As always, I'm joined by Dry. Dry, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing today, Inglai?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
One of my most favorite characters is Medivh. I love how mysterious he is. He seems pretty cool.
Do you want to explain who Medivh is to some people who may not know?
Medivh, one of the guardians of Azeroth. You see, the elves gave the humans magic to use and created the first council of mages, 100 of them to be exact, to use against the orcs. And there was too much magical power amongst them, and they decided they needed a leader, and they decided to choose a guardian to kind of watch over and have the most power over all the other mages. So, yes, the Guardian does have extra power. And the title got passed down, and eventually it got to a lady, and I will say her name wrong. You will have to deal with it. Her name was Egwene. And Egwene held the title, fought over some demon, doesn't really matter, but had a child. That child's name was Medivh. And turns out that demon was Sargeras himself, and Sargeras' soul is stuck inside Medivh, and we don't worry about that anymore. Anyway, that's a little bit of a really quick whiplash history of who Medivh is.
Yes, unfortunately, Medivh is no longer with us, having passed his title now to Khadgar, who is kind of like the title of president. Nobody wants it, but yet it's forced upon somebody.
And technically, he hasn't fully accepted the title yet. So he's not the Guardian, but he's the Guardian, let's face it. He just doesn't have all the extra power that comes with it.
Right. I mean, to be fair, though, people would be dying for that title. But for some reason, nobody really wants to deal with it. Probably because of all the problems that come with being a Guardian.
That's true. Now, who's another amazing lore character?
King Terenas. Now, King Terenas III is Arthas' father. And he was king of Lordaeron before Arthas killed him in order to destroy Lordaeron.
Mm-hmm. And he was technically the leader of the Alliance in a whole at the time.
It's a little confusing, but yeah. So, King Terenas was a great king, and he was beloved by everybody. However, one day, while court was in session, a crow appeared, and everybody started freaking out, but King Terenas let the crow land, and it turned out to be none other than Medivh himself. That's right, rewriters. Medivh came not just to hang out with the king.
Have a couple of beers.
But he came with a warning. That's right. He came to warn King Terenas that a great evil was coming. And he needed to get his people out of Lordaeron and go to
the far-off land of Kalandor.
Now, his council believed that Medivh was a crack and warned King Terenas that he shouldn't listen to him. Now, of course, we all know that somebody on that council wasn't being truthful. And who was it? It was Neltharion. I know you guys love it when I say his name, so I'll say it again. Neltharion.
We could say just Deathwing. But yeah, you could say he was quite nefarious.
But yeah, so he strongly suggested to the king he shouldn't listen to Deathwing. Or that he shouldn't listen to Medivh, sorry. And instead, ignore the warnings because everything was fine. You know, everything was just all hunky-dory. He shouldn't listen to the guy who obviously wants to help.
Oh, yeah. No, he's crazy. Definitely stay at home where your son will come back from war and stab you.
Right? So, unfortunately, King Terenas listened to his counsel and ignored Medivh, who left to go talk to Thrall to warn him about what's coming. And Thrall listened and was able to get his people to Kalandor. So, Angelo, I asked the question today for the rewriters, what if King Terenas had just listened to Medivh? What would have changed? What would have happened? What differences would it make in history?
I feel like it would make a lot of difference.
Oh, it'd be insane.
It would change the fabric of Horde and Alliance altogether.
Exactly, because what happened was when King Terenas didn't listen, that allowed Arthas to come in and kill his father and basically take Lordaeron over, causing chaos, sowing chaos into the streets of Lordaeron, and causing
mass murder.
I wasn't sure if we were allowed to say that.
Yeah, you're right. We probably shouldn't say that. I'll just censor that part out.
Yeah. Beep. Causing mass chaos and destruction. A mass unaliving on a grand scale. And that also allowed him to, when King Terenas was being taken to his final resting spot, Arthas was able to intercept it and get his urn, who in turn was used for Kel'Thuzad's phylactery. Golly, Arthas there was a ton of steps there that he probably could have cut out, but oh well. But let's start with him listening to Medivh's warnings.
All right. A bird comes down, pops up. It's Medivh. He says, yo, you guys should go to Kalandor. Now, let's think about maybe why he wanted them to go to Kalandor.
It's not specifically said in the lore. The only thing that is mentioned is he wanted the Horde and the Alliance to unite against the Burning Legion. Which is a little weird but then you consider, Sargeras hated the Burning Legion.
And there's also the belief that during this time, Sargeras' soul is inside Medivh, and Arthas, or I should say, the Lich King at the Frozen Throne right now, wants to be free of being a part of the Legion, and so Sargeras is using his major chess piece of Medivh to say, hey, we need to stop the Scourge. I need the Horde and Alliance to unite together to go take out the Scourge. But that's just a possibility.
Right. So when we talk about what we needed to figure out why Medivh would want everybody together, because at this point in time, Thrall just left the camp. If you don't know, look it up. What kind of camp I'm talking about. So tensions amongst Lordaeron and the new Horde were very high.
They definitely did not see it as a new Horde for good. They just saw it as a recreation of what the Horde once was. But that's not Thrall's Horde. It is a Horde that they just want to live in peace and not go home to a decrepit rock that is falling apart, aka Draenor, even though the portal is closed at this moment in time.
Right, so they had no point to go home to their home, and they wouldn't want to go back to that home anyway, so that's why.
Yes. So, Medivh shows up, goes to King Terenas, says, hey, you should go to Kalendor. Then he goes over to Thrall and says, hey, you should go to Kalendor. Meet up with these guys. You'll be best buddies. So, they take their time, they go over, and at this point, Thrall runs into some trolls and has a problem with the Proudmoors. And we'll say that still happens. We don't want to change too much. We'll keep that still set in the actual lore, where the murder of the Proudmoors happens. Jaina helps Thrall escape so that they can go on to Kalendor. But King Terenas takes a different route with a bunch of Lordaeons because they want to get away from a Scourge threat. And it's probably more of just an armory, an arsenal of people. Now, once they landed on Kalendor, I'm pretty sure Medivh would find a way to have just Thrall and just King Terenas talk to each other. And they would talk a little bit about each part. Everyone would have their say, with the Guardian there to be the mediator, making sure that no one breaks out into a fight so that Thrall can actually describe what the Horde actually is and how it's not a recreation of bloodthirsty monsters.
King Terenas probably would be a little bit hesitant to just let these these orcs in to the Horde, because there's a lot of history there and what King Terenas did. But you have to also think about is that King Terenas didn't hate the Horde, he hated the orcs. He hated what they did when they were possessed by demon blood.
And that's the major thing. And keep in mind, Lordaeron was in charge of putting the orc internment camps up too. So this is a very broad what if.
It is, but it's also a fun what if, because again, you have to remember that yes, King Terenas had a head on his shoulders that made him realize that not all orcs are the same. And what's Thrall? Because Thrall, there's a reason he was made the first war chief, and he was able to do what he did. He had a smart way of thinking, and he was able to, lead a group of people that probably would not have become friends in the first place, but he was able to unite everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, King Terenas didn't know what Blackmoor did, because he tried to raise Thrall in secret to take over Lordaeron eventually. So once Thrall explained that to King Terenas and said, hey, this is what Blackmoor was doing, I was just trying to protect myself and free my people, Terenas would be like, yeah, that sounds like him.
I imagine that discussion would have been amazing, because King Terenas would have showed up, and Thrall and the Guardian would have been there, and King Terenas would say, so, you burn down my camps, free a bunch of slaves, and kill my right-hand man. That's awesome. It takes guts to do that, kid.
You got a great head about you. Unfortunately, though, Lordaeron would still be under siege once Terenas was gone, because Arthas he was fully possessed by Ner'zhul at this point. The calling to Stratholme had happened. He was on his way to carve a path through the Eastern Kingdoms to make his way to the Sunwell.
But imagine how disappointed he would be to go to Lordaeron and ask for his father, and he's not there.
He would still overtake Lordaeron, but Terenas would have lived, and word would have gone back to Thrall and Terenas, probably by Medivh, who wanted to show that his warnings were just. Because, it takes a lot to believe a guy who's like, hey, you need to go to Eastern Kingdoms, or to Kalendor, and just trust in me.
Yeah, just trust me. You want to do this.
And so Terenas would have seen this, realizing that Medivh was in fact correct, and started to kind of mourn his kingdom and his son, but there's no time for mourning because we gotta get going.
And he's like, I gotta get my city back. Thrall, will you help me? No. You see, the orcs are still setting up Orgrimmar, and Thrall can't leave the majority of the Horde to be alone, especially what might happen later on in Ashenvale. So, I feel like he would send a platoon of orcs to go help with the humans of Lordaeron. And I feel like he would put Eitrig or Sourfang kind of in charge of the platoons.
Right, because at this point, Sourfang still had his son, so he wasn't broken down. So he would have had more of an idea of how to help and probably lead the pack to fix everything.
And Eitrig at this time would have had his connection with Tyrion, and how he saw that there's honor amongst the alliance as well.
Right. So when we talk about this what if, we have to stretch some things because, again, would the Horde actually help Lordaeron? I don't think so. I don't think they'd care. But
I think Thrall would care.
I think he would to a point because if you think about it, that was his home for a long time. Did he hate it? Yes. Was he treated like dirt? Absolutely. But at the same time, there were people who did genuinely care about him. Like his childhood friend, who everybody forgets.
I don't remember.
He had a childhood friend who her mom actually nursed Thrall because he was a literal baby.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm remembering.
Her name was Teretha Foxton, and I said that name wrong, but you guys are going to have to deal with it.
Go rage in the comments below. Thank you for your comment.
Please. But they were childhood best friends, and he was helped raised. And she's the reason why he knows that there's good in humans. Not every human is like Blackmore. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. He would help Lordaeron because he would think of his friend, Teretha. And again, I said that so wrong. You guys are going to be so mad. Anyway.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
And he would think of his friend and help Lordaeron get back because honestly, Terenas would probably make a deal with Thrall. Like, if you help us, we'll help you set up a new place for the orcs. Mm-hmm. You know, more give and take. And now, I know another big question is, would Terenas reach out to Stormwind? And of course he would. I mean, right now, Stormwind, everywhere is just as affected in this way as much as every single person.
So if we look at the timeline, right now, Arthas is making his way up to... Or was he working his way down to Dalaran?
Well, he doesn't have the urn yet. Once he destroys Lordaeron, I think he makes his way up.
Alright, so in this rewrite, we're having Uther stay behind to watch over the kingdom. Uther dies in protecting Lordaeron, and his urn is the urn that Kel'Thuzad uses as a phylactery. Now, this is when the platoon of orcs and Eitrig goes across the sea with King Terenas and goes to probably Ironforge first or Stormwind to gain some help to advance up to Lordaeron to retrieve their city. And I feel like a lot of them, especially the dwarves, they probably would have stayed locked up in the mountains and wouldn't have been a part of it. And Stormwind, it would be very hard to try and convince them that, hey, they're here to help us. But I think with King Terenas on their side and the Guardian there to help them, the king would realize, oh, they need help getting this threat under control right now because these Scourge will spread wildly.
Well, it's kind of like you have to think about what's the bigger threat here, the orcs or the Scourge. And with how powerful Arthas is seeming, having destroyed Lordaeron and is literally carving a path through Dalaran, whatever you want to call it, making his way up to the Sunwell, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
So what Varian would have to sit there, look at all his options, and be like, okay, who's the bigger threat? And once he realized it was Arthas, he would help Lordaeron be, he would help everybody take back Lordaeron. Would he trust the orcs? No, but he would be gradually make an alliance with them.
So
Not the alliance, but an alliance.
A little bit of a Horde alliance. It'd be a weird one. I wonder what we should call it. First of its kind.
First of its kind. Let's go.
They make their way up to Lordaeron. They cleanse it of the Scourge. And they make their way up the Dead Scar to try and stop Arthas, but he still gets to the Sunwell, resurrects Kel'Thuzad, and they get out of there and make their way to Northrend. So they just miss them. Now, let's skip a bit, because what about the Forsaken? Sylvanas breaks free from her Banshee, and she helps some other people that were raised from the dead to become the Forsaken. But now, instead of a whole entire city on her side, that whole city has been sacked by humans and orcs hand in hand, so the Forsaken numbers are very, very small. Where would she go?
They are. Well, since Lordaeron wouldn't be a option for Sylvanas, I feel... at first I said Stratholme would be maybe a good, because there's a lot of Scourge there, but Engelai did inform me that there's a curse that's always on fire.
Sadly.
That wouldn't be possible, unfortunately. I doubt anybody wants to live in a place cursed eternally with fire, even the Scourge. Or, I mean, even the Forsaken.
That would be interesting.
Right? That's what I'm saying. And we're thinking where they would go is Engelai.
The ruins of the Scarlet Enclave. Yes, your beautiful Death Knight home of the Ebon Hold hanging over the horizon. But this is before the Death Knights made it over. So yes, the Scarlet Enclave, I feel like, would be a good base that I could definitely see Sylvanas bringing her people over there, if not only to attack a couple of living people there to kind of take it over for herself. And what's crazy is it would line up perfectly with the lore when you make a Death Knight, because the Ebon Hold would show up there, you would make your Death Knight, and instead of Arthas wanting to attack a little city with some humans, it would be Arthas telling you to go fight this city of these Forsaken that think that they can be free of my power. And it's him getting justice for all the insane reasons.
In his sick, twisted mind, he's like, oh, I'll do it. Yeah, that Banshee stole my power away from me. Kill her. And then, obviously, we don't.
And they
Or you don't. I'm not a Death Knight.
And they make it a 2-for-2 because Arthas sees it as that Banshee witch is down there. Stop her. Also, the Lights Hope Chapel, I kind of want that.
Hey, it's a twofer. Give it to me.
Even though he really wanted the Lights Hope Chapel because he knew that Tyrion would be hiding around there, and he just wanted him to come out of hiding.
Exactly. Does the Horde still have a stronghold in Eastern Kingdoms besides Silvermoon? Because that's what Engelheim wanted. We didn't want to take away a stronghold from the Horde because they already have so few hold in Eastern Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't want to just take it away from the Horde. We wanted to keep it kind of even though Lordaeron would probably go with the Alliance.
I jokingly even said Skullomance.
Skull. If Stratholme is cursed, Skullomance is 10 times worse.
But it seems like a forsaken home. Nice and cozy.
Cozy isn't the word I'd use around Skullomance. Bring back the original lore of Skullomance, you cowards. Anyway, but yeah, so that's where Sylvanas and the Forsaken would go in desperation to try to find a home, but with a lot less of an army.
They'd be very dwindled numbers.
It would be, because literally she doesn't have much. But that would also help in Cataclysm when she presents her idea to help make new Forsaken to Garrosh. And make a little more sense why she's so desperate to make more if her numbers had effectively dwindled.
It all fits together. Now, eventually, King Terenas would have died because he was already in such an old stage, but...
He was also sick. He
Yeah.
had a disease. I don't remember what the disease was, but I remember he was sick. He was dying already.
I feel like this would have also been a good time. Instead of being killed so abruptly, he would have been able to go see his wife and kid. Wait, was she dead?
No, Terenas' wife actually survived the culling of Lordaeron.
And so did his daughter. And he would
That's
have
right.
probably... That would be interesting if we would have seen them at like the priest order hall where he's still alive but really old and his daughter's keeping him alive.
And then we had to do a quest where we had to be like, you gotta let him go. He's not looking great.
It's called the Move On quest. Just let him die. Do I
but
get
it
to
could
keep his
be-
crown?
No.
Why not?
Honestly, I was so prepared for you to say skull that I was like, you
thought I
can't.
was just gonna say skull? No, his crown. His crown.
I was so prepared for you to say skull.
Can I keep his skull?
No. Yeah, I guess we could, but I feel like the crown would go to Kalia.
Ugh, lame.
And Kalia had a daughter with a knight that she fell in love with. So we would get to see them and get to know them. And probably Terenas, for Stormwind's help in reclaiming Lordaeron, would probably offer Varian his granddaughter's hand in marriage. Because, that's how people make deals in medieval times. I'll take your go for my kid.
You
I don't
like
want
my
your
daughter?
kid.
Give me cow.
I don't want your kid. Well, I don't have much else to offer besides a daughter and a goat. Dad, I'm not a goat. Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, whatever.
do you want the kid? So, Varian would probably agree because Panda needs a wife to continue the bloodline. Am I right, guys? So, they would accept it, and they would probably get married and unite Lordaeron and Stormwind.
That'd be nice. Now, here's
But-
the real question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does King Terenas do in return to the orcs for helping? Now, of course, they
Probably
can't stay with them in Lordaeron, so they would have to go back to Orgrimmar. But what would he do for them?
Well, he'd probably offer supplies to help build Orgrimmar and basic necessities to get started, like food, water.
A shipping
'Cause-
route?
A shipping route would be huge because Grosh mentions that their natural resources are already low. So to have a shipping agreement with Lordaeron would be literal life-changing for them.
That'd be the craziest thing to now I'm just imagining playing classic World of Warcraft and then running through, making a human, making your way up to Lordaeron, and then you learn that they have a shipping, trade deal with the Horde. And then, there'd be some quests around it where it's dismantle the shipping trade, and then as a Horde player, you're help the shipping trade, or No, wait. On the Horde side, it would be like some of the shipments have been tampered with. I don't trust the Lordaeron anymore. Go see what they're doing. But in reality, it's the Alliance players messing with the shipments.
Right, and then Kalia would probably... Because Kalia seemed to be a good leader. We don't know actually very much about Kalia, leadership-wise, because she's been in hiding for so long from Sylvanas. Rightly so, because Sylvanas shot her.
Yeah.
In the book. But we get to learn more about how she deals with Danes and, scold the Alliance players for tampering with the shipment and being like, listen, the Horde helped us in our time of need. We cannot mess with them in their time of need. And we would continue to help the Horde, continue their legacy, and Thrall would probably be grateful. Now, when Garrosh comes around, he probably would just be like, we don't need your help.
Oh, yeah. Or he would have been like, take it all. And he would have purged Lordaeron.
He would have tried.
Dang.
He would have tried.
This does sound fun. I like this alternate idea. What should we call it?
Alternate idea, or?
Well, yeah, like, the calling. Medivh's word heard.
Medivh's word heard. It'd probably be the Guardian's word or something.
The Guardian's word. There it is. I love it. Guys, if you like it, go to the Discord and build on it. Call it Medivh's word heard. Or what did we call it?
The Guardian's word.
The Guardian's word. Hashtag the Guardian's word in Warcraft Rewrite. Let's build on it. I love the idea.
I feel like we could definitely build on this because it would change so much, especially with Kalia being a good, political figure and not just an awkward person staring to the side and be like, hey guys. Now, Angle Eye, before we wrap up today's episode, there is one more thing I'd like to talk about.
What?
Probably one of your favorite subjects whenever we're talking about Tristful Glades. The Scarlet Crusade!
No one expects the Scarlet Crusade.
How are they? What did they do? Because
what did they do?
Lordaeron never died, or Lordaeron was never fell to the Forsaken. Would they still be rampant and they hate that we're helping the orcs?
Surprisingly, I feel like the Scarlet Crusade would still happen. Because remember, it was originally the Knights of the Silver Hand. And then they branched off because a Dreadlord tricked them into thinking that everybody's all wrong. Now that we don't have the Forsaken there to use as leverage, we could use the orcs there and the helpful Horde. And there would be a way of misshaping it where the Dreadlord is whispering in their ears saying, look at them. They're not on your side. They're on the Horde side, clearly. And then they would still point you towards the Scarlet Enclave, where they would definitely go after... Look at those mindless Scourge thinking that they can live. And I feel like the the Scarlet Monastery would still be a thing.
Oh, probably. But I didn't want to end this episode without talking about what they would do.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of tiny little stories that would change drastically just because King Terenas decided to listen to the Guardian and go across to Kalimdor. Now, what was Medivh's second plan if they would have met up with each other? We have no idea. And I think that's also hilarious how they wrote it and then they just instantly dismissed it. I love it.
They're like, hey, we got an idea. No, we don't.
No, we don't. No.
We're just not going to have them listen to him.
If you've seen the cinematic, it's hilarious because Medivh comes in. He looks like he is like large and in charge, and he's like, I know what's best for you. Please listen to me. I am. And he flexes the Guardian. And King Terenas is like, no, go away.
Really took the wind out of the sails there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, he comes in as a raven, poof, and he's just like, I know how to help you guys. No. What? What? I wasn't expecting a no.
I didn't think this far ahead.
He gets kicked out by the guards. Wait a minute.
Guys, please.
It's like him still trying to understand his role as a guardian. Oh, I love it.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for today, Inglai.
Absolutely. Would you like to send us off?
Oh, I'd love to. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please consider liking and subscribing and clicking that bell for when Inglai and I post again. And don't forget, we have a Patreon and a Discord where you can build off this idea and tell us more ways of how this would change history. Any final thoughts, Inglai?
I love tacos.
Tacos are great. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Dryan. That's Inglai, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.